honor to call this woman to the stage. While she needs no introduction, I've seen her in the last few weeks work so hard to put this conference together and to ensure that our midwives feel appreciated. She's had a team helping her, but she's done the groundwork to ensure that this is going to be an amazing conference. So please let us welcome her and give her a round of applause. And I speak of none other than Ms. Kafni Shalmain Suraj to begin with the welcome remarks.
Midwives, good morning. You all look so beautiful. Can you please give yourselves a round of applause? Honorable Minister Moses Jabatis, Minister of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Health, Ms. Jenny Daniel, who's joining us virtually, Dr. Sharon Belma George, Chief Medical Officer, Ms. Deborah Stewart, President of the Caribbean Regional Midwives Association, Ms. Kisha Alfred, Finance Officer of CDB, Sister Lucia Lee, who is our guest of honor, senior managers of the Ministry of Health, midwives, registered nurses, invited guests, the media, good morning. On behalf of the Ministry of Health, it is indeed an honor to be the one assigned to welcome you all to the 3rd Annual Midwifery Conference. Thank you for being here to celebrate together the work and achievements of midwives in St. Lucia. On May 5th, the International Confederation of Midwives, ICM, and midwives worldwide will celebrate the International Day of the Midwife under the theme, Midwives Critical in Every Crisis. This theme underscores the indispensable role of midwives in crisis preparation, planning, and response. It is a call to action for greater recognition, inclusion, and support for midwives in crisis response efforts. Midwives are often the first responders in communities, preparing health systems for crisis and advocating for essential sexual, reproductive, maternal, newborn, and adolescent health services. However, midwives are usually excluded in emergency preparedness and response planning at local, national, and international levels. Supported by that fact, the WHO lists maternal, newborn, and child health second to mass casualty management. It is appropriate for ICM and its member associations such as SLMIG to ensure midwives participate and uptake their role in mitigation, emergency preparedness, rapid response, and recovery. The Ministry of Health, Wellness, and Elderly Affairs hosts this 3rd Annual Midwifery Conference under the theme, The Midwife, Mental Health Needs whilst Pioneering the Needs of Clients, Families, Communities in Every Crisis. This theme emphasizes the importance of targeted psychological support for the midwife as she cares for the clients. Of significance is the debriefing and mental health support. Crises can be natural, such as hurricane or an earthquake, or can be man-made. Irrespective, it is important that we recognize that stress, burnout, and trauma is real and therefore need to be addressed post-crisis. Therefore, when you depart, we anticipate that you will be more knowledgeable of the ways we can be prepared and how we can provide support to each other.
It is both an honor and pleasure to join you today for the opening of the Holistic Midwifery Symposium 2025. This symposium forms part of a broader project, specifically the Building Capacity and Resilience in the Health Sector to Respond to the Coronavirus 2019 project that comprises several components, each designed to strengthen the capacity and resilience of key departments within the Ministry of Health, Wellness, and Elderly Affairs. From improving frontline service delivery to enhancing psychosocial support for healthcare workers, the project reflects the ministry's ongoing commitment to building a more robust, responsive health sector. This year's theme, The Midwife, Mental Health Needs whilst Pioneering the Needs of Clients, Families, and Communities in Crisis, speaks volumes about the strength, sacrifice, and resilience of our midwifery professionals. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic and beyond, Midwives have stood at the front line, balancing their professional duties with tremendous emotional demands. Today, we pause to acknowledge not only their clinical role, but their humanity and the need to care for the caregivers. I take this opportunity to congratulate the organizers of this symposium for putting mental health at the forefront of the conversation and for creating a platform that allows for meaningful dialogue, shared learning, and collective healing.
The Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs is proud to host the 3rd Annual Midwifery Conference here today. The hosting of this conference is significant in that it symbolizes the continued commitment of the Government of St. Lucia and the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs to preserving the health of our nation through the attention given to ensure the health of mothers and newborn babies and children. One of the major indicators of the health of a nation is the capacity of the country to facilitate the safe and healthy delivery of babies while preserving the lives of mothers. This factor is significantly impacted by the quality of healthcare services provided by midwives like yourselves and others who are involved in maternal and child care. In every matter that is health-related, the human resource component, of course, must be recognized and must not be overlooked, but rather we should seek to strengthen the capacity and motivation of our healthcare service providers. This conference here today provides an opportunity for discussion, reflection, and the exchange of experiences and ideas, particularly between the primary and secondary healthcare midwives. This opportunity also provides the Ministry of Health with the occasion to indicate the significance of the work of midwives to achieving its strategic objectives and to lay the foundations for providing additional motivation, showing gratitude, and developing the liaisons that are necessary for the efficient functioning of the maternal and child component of healthcare.
Devery Stewart is a registered nurse and midwife with clinical experience spanning 30 years. Most of those years were in midwifery practice and in the birthing center. Ms. Stewart currently lectures at the University of the West Indies School of Nursing at Mona campus. Here, she prepares students to support women in the childbearing age throughout the pregnancy journey. She is an advocate for normality in midwifery practice and empowerment. Ms. Devery Stewart contributed to the UNFPA midwifery training regionally and participated in formulating midwifery competency tools. She has presented at conferences both locally and internationally, addressing the youth stimulation in midwifery practice and maternal mental health. Ms. Stewart actively contributes to both nursing and midwifery through her participation in the Nursing Council of Jamaica, where she is a board member and chair of the Curriculum Committee. She is the current president of the Caribbean Regional Midwives Association and the practicing midwife representative on the ICM Regional Committee for the Americas. A graduate of Excelsior High School, Devery Stewart holds qualifications in MSc Midwifery Education, Masters in Public Health, Midwifery Supervision, Higher Education, a BSc in Midwifery and Registered Nurse Certificate. Her research interests are in the areas of normal midwifery practices, midwifery education, and sexual health. Her community involvement includes being a member of the Women's Health Network, and she will expand on today's conference theme and the importance of addressing mental health among midwives as they serve in the front lines of care during times of crisis. Please, let us give her a warm round of applause and welcome.
Thank you so much. It is a pleasure to be here. And she did say a lot of things. However, those who know me very well know that I like to say I'm just a mother, a woman, midwife. To our Minister of Health, I was sitting beside him, and you know what he said, I'm sitting at a table of greatness. And you know what I always say, anywhere there's midwives, there's greatness. So, Mr. Minister, our permanent secretary, deputy permanent secretary, our finance officer, our midwives, where greatness exists, you're here. You know, I thank you all for being here and thank you for welcoming me here. Now, today we're looking at your theme, mental health needs, while pioneering the needs of clients, families, and communities in every crisis. However, I'm going to put a little twist to it because when we look at our ICM theme and we look at midwives present in every crisis, we're looking at what happened in disaster-prone areas and the role of midwives in these areas, true or false. But I like to say to them at those ICM bodies that, look, when it comes onto the Caribbean, when it comes onto humanitarian needs and midwives practicing, when disaster comes, we can teach you about it. So when their disasters happen, what they should do is take a page from our books. So when they're going to tell us, fit this in, ask us how do we do it to get it fit in. As midwives, we are in that prime position, and I always say, let no one put us on the back burner. We are on the front, and we are going to stay at the front in all of this. Now, when we pioneer our needs of clients, we look at it broadly as they do regionally, as we do internationally. We are relevant in every crisis as part of the solution. Why? We're integral for prevention, mitigation, preparedness, response, and recovery. And I'll take it step by step. Now, when we look at the areas of prevention, what we do as midwives, we look at the root causes. If you want to find out the root cause, ask the midwife. Now, we prevent things by planning. Now, when we plan, we look at our hazards, we look at our vulnerability, not only as a people within the community, but we look at our women. And the best persons to answer the questions of women in our population are midwives, because we are integral to that population. So any planning that is going to be existing, it's there. And I'll take it further home on the labor ward. Who is critical? Us, midwives, isn't it? Yes, be confident about it. Yes, as midwives, nothing happens on the labor ward without the midwife, you know. Right? Any decision doc is going to take, he's going to communicate with the midwife first. Yes? When the midwife identifies a problem, that's the root cause of it. To escalate, who does she go to? She escalates to the doctor. So that's where we come in our area of prevention. And at the same time, should we move to mitigation, we take steps to prevent further harm. Can we stop blood pressure from going up? Can we stop the hurricane from coming? Can we stop the earthquake from coming? No. But what do? We take steps to avoid more harm. And to get those things involved, to be able to participate in these mitigation ideas, it's to have our midwives strategic at every level. And when I say at every level, we are looking at from policy level down. Because you cannot put something at the bottom of the river and expect it to impact the top of the river. Right? Those at the bottom impacts the top, I agree. But we need us at the policy level to make decisions, to be a part of it, and to implement it within our structures. And as I always say this on any platform as I am with Midwife, when there's a policy being driven by midwives, supported and implemented by midwives, it is a success.
This award ceremony, it's part of the ministry's retention strategy for nurses and midwives to formally recognize and celebrate their contributions, dedication, and achievement of midwifery professionals, thereby fostering a culture of appreciation, motivation, and professional pride. So we wanted to start with a little bit of excitement, you know, to recognize our first registrant. Registration opened on the 25th of March at approximately 12:38. And FNP Debbie Brown registered with full payment at 1:30 p.m. that same afternoon. I wonder if Debbie was in the ministry at the time. And Debbie will be receiving a gift certificate for a pedicure. We, the Midwifery Committee, and by extension the Ministry of Health, we are deeply honored to recognize a remarkable group of women whose dedication to the profession of midwifery has not ended with retirement. In the face of our ongoing nursing crisis, these retired midwives have stepped forward, not out of obligation, but out of unwavering commitment to care, compassion, and country. At this time, we are going to be awarding the retired midwives who continue to assist with the nursing crisis. And I now call on Nurse Cyrilla James, Nurse Juliet Joseph, our registrar, we now move on to midwifery education. Our first person, Nurse Lucy Joseph. That's so sweet. What we do as midwives. Our next is Marilyn Paul. Oh. And we also have Nurse Cynthia Alcindor. Nurse Alcindor also works on the maternity unit at Millennium Heights Medical Complex. Come on, sister. Over. I will now call on our Deputy Permanent Secretary to pin our retired nurses from the Millennium Heights Medical Complex. Okay, our first person is Nurse Antoinette Joseph. Thank you, Midwife Joseph. I now call on Midwife Karina St. Clair. Congrats, Auntie Kai. So we now move on to community nursing, community health services unit, and our first awardee is midwife Margaret Jean Charles. Our next person calling up midwife Mary Claudius Daisy. Yay! Practice makes perfect. Let's see about that. Midwife Magdalena Alexander. That's it. Following is midwife Marilyn Lazom. Look pretty today for the red roses nurse. And then we call on midwife Philippa Donnelly. There's D. Congratulations, Ms. Donnelly, and thank you, DPS. Thank you, DPS. Continuing with Community Health Services Unit, calling on midwife Gertrude Gustav. Congrats, nurse. Followed by midwife Angela Niles. Congratulations, nurse. I now call on midwife Paula Augustine. Congratulations. And then nurse, midwife Kate Alfay. She's showing you she's still got skills, you know. Congratulations, midwife Alfay. And finally, from Community Health Services Unit, midwife Alicia Baptiste. So we still have one more retired midwife to award, and she is coming from the St. Lucia Plant Parenthood. And I now welcome midwife Alma Dolo. We're now moving on to another segment, which is the Midwifery Rose Award. Rose, recognition of service excellence. And this is going to be an annual award. Next slide. So just to give you a gist of what the criteria for this award was, the nominee must be a registered nurse midwife and hold a valid midwifery license. Demonstrates a unique standout service or a consistent pattern of behavior that ultimately contributes to an extraordinary patient experience. Shown outstanding understanding or advocacy on behalf of patients, families, or the profession, and also exemplifies outstanding midwifery practice as demonstrated through clinical skills, care, and compassion. So, as we pause, we shine a well-deserved spotlight on individuals whose unwavering dedication, professionalism, and compassion embody the very best of nursing and midwifery. The Rose Awards celebrates those who consistently go above and beyond, improving patient outcomes, mentoring colleagues, and strengthening our health system with every shift, every act of care, and every decision guided by excellence. Our first award is for Lamaze. You can go ahead and tap as I call on midwife Angela Niles. This award is presented to midwife Angela Niles. She's a visionary midwife. And this award is in recognition for her pioneering role in introducing and steadfastly sustaining the Lamaze program within maternal health services. Her commitment to empowering women through evidence-based childbirth education, breathing techniques, and emotional support has transformed the birthing experience for countless mothers. Through her leadership, the Lamaze program has become a trusted pillar of antenatal care, promoting safe, informed, and confident deliveries. Her enduring dedication stands as a testament to excellence in midwifery, advocacy, and holistic maternal care. Congratulations. Well deserved. Our next award is for exclusive breastfeeding. This award is being presented to midwife Persia Ajuda. Midwife Persia Ajuda is a dedicated nurse midwife and public health nursing supervisor. She's been recognized for her outstanding advocacy, unwavering commitment, and exemplary service in promoting and supporting exclusive breastfeeding. If anybody knows Nurse Ajuda, they know what exclusive breastfeeding is. Through compassionate care, evidence-based guidance, and tireless education of mothers, families, and communities, she has significantly contributed to improving maternal and child health outcomes. Her leadership and advocacy have fostered a breastfeeding-friendly environment, empowering countless mothers to give their babies the healthiest start in life. Today, we honor her as a true champion of exclusive breastfeeding. Congratulations. Our next award is for neonatology. and I call on midwife Karina St. Clair. Nurse St. Clair has an unwavering dedication, compassion, and expertise in one of the most critical fields of nursing. With over 30 years of experience in the neonatal intensive care unit, Nurse St. Clair has become a pillar of strength and comfort for both her tiniest patients and their families. Her passion for neonatal care is evident in every interaction, whether she's meticulously monitoring a premature infant's vitals or gently reassuring a frightened new parent with a quiet word and a warm smile. Nurse St. Clair doesn't just care for babies, she nurtures families. After her retirement from active duty, she returned to the Well Baby Unit at OKU, continuing to work with babies and families. She embodies the very spirit of neonatal nursing. Colleagues and parents speak of Nurse St. Clair's extraordinary ability to blend clinical precision with deep empathy. She's known for going above and beyond her duties, often staying late to ensure a baby is stable and to support a family through a difficult time. Her innovative work on improving developmental care practices has also contributed to improved outcomes. She is highly resistant and a pillar of strength and a role model for younger and aspiring nurses. Her dedication is a powerful reminder of the quiet heroism that happens behind ICU doors, where compassion meets science and miracles are made possible. Congratulations. Very well deserved. Next award for child health. And this award is proudly presented to midwife Jasmine Klesse-Daniel. Jasmine is an exceptional nurse midwife and public health nursing supervisor. And this is in recognition for her visionary leadership and dedication to child health services. Through her assigned region and by extension primary care. Her proactive efforts in early childhood development, immunization outreach, nutrition education, and community-based health screenings have strengthened the foundation for lifelong well-being among children. Through innovation, compassion, and collaboration, she has championed initiatives that bridge gaps in access, empowering families, and promote equity in child health. When she hits the road at Major Mill with that library nurse, yes, it's all about bridging gaps in access. Her contributions embody the spirit of primary care and public health excellence. Congratulations, Midwife Daniel. Our next award is for the expanded program on immunization. This award is presented to midwife Bernadette Felix Regis. Midwife Bernadette Felix Regis is a devoted nurse midwife and public health nursing supervisor. This award is in recognition for her outstanding service and unwavering commitment to the National Expanded Program on Immunization. Her tireless efforts in vaccine advocacy, community outreach, and the delivery of immunization services have played a critical role in increasing coverage, reducing preventable disease, and safeguarding the health of children across the nation. With exceptional dedication, she continues to be on the front lines to ensure that no child is left behind, exemplifying high standards of public health and primary care. Congratulations. Well deserved. Our next award is a hospital award from Millennium Heights Medical Complex. I call on midwife Teresa Viti Frederick. Midwife Frederick is presented the Midwifery Rose Award in recognition for her outstanding dedication, compassion, and professionalism in providing exceptional care to patients and contributing to the overall success of her team. Midwife Frederick came into nursing at Victoria Hospital in 1994, just to give you a little background. Moved up the ranks of staff nurse and became a ward manager in 2016. During this time, she has consistently demonstrated a deep commitment to patients and colleagues. Her compassion, skills, and leadership have not only enhanced the quality of care, she provides exemplary patient care. Nurse Frederick consistently goes over and beyond in times of crisis and acts as a key advocate to patients' care and safety. She has the ability to establish strong, trust-based relationships with patients and creates an atmosphere to comfort and safety. Her leadership and teamwork. She has proven to be a true leader with the team, whether guiding new nurses, collaborating with other healthcare professionals, or stepping up during challenging situations. She consistently inspires others to do their best. She's worked along with pupil midwives, acting as a coach and mentor to prepare them for midwifery examinations. She's a patient advocate. Midwife Frederick is a fierce advocate for patients, ensuring that they receive the best outcome. Always says, "Doc, I think this patient needs a cesarean section. We cannot keep resuscitating." Yeah? She goes beyond listening to patients' concerns and attempts to provide for their needs, be it psychological, social, or financial. And lastly, at least one of her positive attitude and compassion. Even during the most challenging situations, Midwife Frederick maintains a calm, compassionate demeanor. Her positive attitude uplifts the team and helps to create a nurturing environment. In recognition of her outstanding service, unwavering dedication, and remarkable ability to make a difference, I present Midwife Frederick for the Midwifery Rose Award, as she's an inspiration to all. Congratulations, Midwife Frederick. And now, from St. Jude's Hospital, I call on Nurse Midwife Fabiana Nicholas. With great admiration, Midwife Nicholas is presented the Rose Award in recognition of her unwavering dedication, clinical expertise, and compassionate care to mothers and newborns at St. Jude's Hospital. Midwife Fabiana Nicholas exemplifies the true spirit of midwifery through her exceptional knowledge, technical skill, empathy, and patience. She treats every mother and family with dignity, consistently advocating for safe, respectful childbirth experiences. Her calm and confident demeanor during labor provides comfort and reassurance, even in the most critical situations. Beyond the delivery room, Nurse Fabiana plays a vital role as a mentor and role model to junior and student midwives. Her leadership shines in her ability to inspire, guide, and support her colleagues, especially during challenging circumstances. In times of crisis, she has demonstrated remarkable resilience and sharp clinical judgment. For her exemplary service, tireless commitment, and the deep compassion she brings to her work, Nurse Midwife Fabiana Nicholas is wholeheartedly recommended for this prestigious award. Congratulations. So I would like to call on Nurse Joseph from the General Nursing Council to award the special award from St. Lucia's General Nursing Council. Welcome.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this morning, it gives me great pleasure on behalf of the General Nursing Council of St. Lucia to award Nurse Claudiane Elza. I would like to call her to the stage. Nurse Claudiane Elisa. To present to her, on behalf of the General Nursing Council of St. Lucia, the award for the highest academic achievements in midwifery exam for April 2025. Also, on behalf of the council, Miss Elise will be receiving free registration in the register of the Nurses and Midwives Register.
Congratulations, Nurse Elise. Nurse Joseph, I would want you to just remain on stage as we move to the final segment of our award ceremony. And this segment is the award of the Lucia Lee Award of Excellence. This is going to be an annual award. The Ministry of Health would like to recognize Mrs. Lucia Lee, midwife Lucia Lee, as having served the longest as the sole midwifery lecturer, positively impacting many generations of midwives. In her honor, let us stand and give her a round of applause. Sister Lee, in her honor, an award will be launched, the Lucia Lee Award of Excellence. This award represents high clinical standards, ethics, and morals she stands by. So I'll just give you an idea as to what the criteria of this award was, and then I'll hand over to Ms. Joseph, who is going to tell us a little more about Lucia Lee. So you may have your seats. The nominee for this award must be a registered nurse midwife and hold a valid midwifery license. The nominee must have demonstrated at least 5 out of the 6 following criteria: exceptional contribution to improving care or outcomes of patients and/or communities, significantly contributed to delivering a positive outcome in service provision, patient care, or administration, shown outstanding advocacy on behalf of patients, families, and the profession. Outstanding understanding, exemplifies outstanding midwifery practice as demonstrated through clinical skills, care, and compassion, consistently supports colleagues and pupil midwives, demonstrating collaboration and a positive attitude, or demonstrated advanced professional development or research in midwifery. So this was the criteria for this award. At this time, I will ask Nurse Joseph to just give us a little more, or tell us a little more about the midwife whom this award is named after.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the hearts of every great midwife lies a teacher who shaped not only her skills, but her spirit. Such was the presence of this honorable lady standing beside me today, Sister Lucia Lee. A midwifery educator whose warmth, compassion, and unwavering professionalism left a lasting imprint on all who had the privilege of learning from her. Kind and motherly in every interaction, she nurtured her students with the same care and tenderness she taught them to offer their future patients. Her classroom was a safe space, a place where mistakes were met with gentle guidance, where questions were welcomed without judgment, and where every student felt seen and supported. Her empathy was not just spoken but lived. She understood the emotional weight of midwifery, the joys, the grief, the immense responsibility, and she guided her students through it all with grace. She was never too busy to listen, never too tired to care, and never too far to reach. Yet, beneath her soft demeanor stood a pillar of professionalism. She held high standards, not out of harshness, but because she believed in the potential of her students. She modeled excellence in knowledge, ethics, and clinical practice. Being aware that she was the lone midwifery tutor for many years, yet never complained about how challenging her task was. In her, we saw not just a teacher, but a true midwife in spirits, in heart, and deed. Her legacy lives on in the countless lives touched by her students, who carry forward her lessons, not only in practice, but in compassion with which they serve. Indeed, Sister Lee was the St. Lucian Midwifery Nightingale. Sister Lee, we honor you. And today, we proudly celebrate your achievements.
The awardee for the Sister Lee Award of Excellence. And this award goes to none other than midwife Diana Henry Ernest. Midwife Diana Henry Ernest hails from the small community of Monry-Pomikud. She brings a wealth of experience to her profession, having served as a registered nurse for over 41 years and as a nurse midwife for the past 25 years. Mistress Henry Ernest worked at the Victoria Hospital until 2012, after which she transitioned to academia. She joined the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College as a lecturer after completing a master's degree in midwifery in the United Kingdom. Like Sister Lucia Lee, Mistress Henry Ernest spearheaded the midwifery program at the college for many years. To date, Mistress Henry Ernest is the only nurse on the island to hold a Master's of Science in Midwifery. Midwife Henry Ernest currently serves as the Vice President of the St. Lucia Midwifery Interest Group, as well as the Vice President of the Caribbean Regional Midwifery Association, CRMA. She is deeply passionate about midwifery, a field she affectionately refers to as her baby. And as the Dean, she remains a strong advocate for its growth and development in St. Lucia. Congratulations. Okay.
Sister Lee insisted that I said, she actually influenced me in becoming a lecturer. She said, somebody has to continue. So she was my mentor in that regard. And of course, everything I do, she knows that I've written about her. Her compassion, the way she ensured that we grasped what she was teaching. Vite, all of us who were very close to her at the time, she knew us and our family members as well, always asking about the children, the husband, and so forth, ensuring that we got where we had to get in midwifery. So I owe everything to Sister Lee, honestly. Everything about midwifery to Sister Lee. Thank you so much, Sister Lee.
So as we conclude this segment, let us carry forward the spirit of excellence, resilience, and compassion that these awardees have so beautifully demonstrated. Their stories inspire not only pride in the midwifery profession, but also renewed commitment to the health and well-being of our mothers, babies, and communities. We salute their remarkable contributions, and may their legacy continue to guide and uplift all of us midwives. A round of applause.
It's a very small world. And so I start with this to say to you how important it is to network, and how important it is for us to continue to do the kinds of things you're doing, to develop knowledge, to continue to build through partnerships and collaboration. I want to say a few words to you. Like I said before, most of it you know already. But I want to share with you that I'm sure you know that maternal and newborn care remains a priority for the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs. You know that approximately 92% of pregnant women in St. Lucia access public and private health care at least 3 times during their pregnancy and after delivery. In order to increase the access to care and increase provision of essential maternal and child health services, capacity building such as this and other activities must be continued. The government of St. Lucia recognizes the importance of maternal and child health, especially with the significant decline in birth rates. You know that steady decline from 1,934 total births in 2018 to 1,448 total births in 2024. So all efforts have to be made to safeguard our deliveries and to ensure that maternal care is high on the agenda. The government of St. Lucia continues to invest heavily in maternal and child health with the continuation of no out-of-pocket costs for diagnostics, ultrasounds, and care for pregnant women. This is to ensure everyone has access to essential health services, including those related to pregnancy, childbirth, and child development, without undue financial hardship. The Universal Health Coverage Maternal Care Initiative, which was launched on June 1st, 2023, is a significant step towards ensuring access to comprehensive maternal health services for all women in the country. This initiative includes the government's commitment to addressing maternal mortality and improving the health outcomes of mothers and their babies.
I've had the privilege of working with many of you from the hospitals to the community, and I'm a very strong advocate for everything nursing, for every level of nursing. I've learned a lot from you in the development of my career, and even more importantly, when I was at my most vulnerable during my own pregnancy, I have to say it's the expertise of those nurses why I and my twins are here today, because I fall into the risk factors that we'll be describing. First pregnancy, twins in my old age of 35. It was and it was also the first time that I was actually admitted. I had never been admitted to hospital or sick or anything before. So it really was the most vulnerable and the most difficult time of my life. And thanks to the expertise, I had the experience of having the nurses in St. Lucia care for me and my premature babies. And we are here today because of you. So I've seen it and I've had the experience both ways, and I know what you all bring to care. So this morning, you can go on to I also want to say that you all look very beautiful. From my very first month of being at the ministry, I learned that where 2 or more nurses are gathered, there's a fashion show. So I could see this morning really, really exemplifies that. You all look so amazing. So this morning, myself and Nurse Cassius will be looking at the maternal and child health program areas, the behavioral risk factor survey of 2019 and why that is significant. We look at the distribution of our maternal child health services. We'll review our maternal, neonatal, and child data, standards of care, progress of maternal child health, opportunities and challenges. I will also discuss with you the perinatal audit of 2014. I know some of you may have participated or may remember this audit. And we look at the way forward with recommendations, because once we review data and we see certain trends, we must have a plan for improvement. To set the tone, I will just go through the situational context. So over the past 2 decades, we saw substantial progress in reducing maternal and child deaths. Over the last 5 years, we are seeing a reduction in that progress on a global level, within the region, and also nationally. In the Caribbean, some of the challenges after the pandemic, we saw the issues with human resource, and nursing and pharmacy were the 2 areas that we have the biggest deficit. The supply chain issues with the cost of everything health going up, and also the shortages that we saw. And while we were trying to keep people alive during the pandemic, there was a break in access to care during the management. So we saw persons who did not go as regular because the fear of going to clinics where persons were sick. A lot of it affected our regular access and the continuity of care that we provided before the pandemic. We also have to keep in mind that as a country, there are certain goals that we are working towards with the region and the rest of the world, and that is the Sustainable Development Goals that we need to reach as a country in 2030, which is only 5 years away. So on a regional level, there's a recommended regional approach to promote health strategies and policies to improve perinatal outcomes. That is, we learn from the best practices of the other countries, we see what works and also apply that. I had the opportunity to attend such a meeting in February, I think it was, with Nurse Cassius and Dr. Gordon from the Millennium Heights Medical Complex, and we looked at the data across the other countries. We saw what worked, we saw what best practices were, and we were able to put in our, a guideline which we have shared with the units from the hospitals and also the community towards improving our data. So the first step for us would be our national assessment and also our national plan.
So I just wanted to start with some general information, which I think is very important. So we had a risk factor survey. This survey is a survey that is conducted in the Caribbean, funded by PAO. And what it does is that it looks at the risk factors of persons in countries. And when we talk about risk factors, we're looking at NCD risk factors. So that survey was conducted in 2019. So I just kind of pulled out 2 slides from it. And the emphasis here is on the females. The survey was conducted among women ages 18 to 69. These are women of reproductive age. So these are the women 18 to 69. What I mean, the reproductive age group is within that group, right? Yes. We're not saying that 69 only will get pregnant, okay? So the reproductive age is within that age group. So these are the women that will be coming to us pregnant, okay, if they have not come already. So when we look at tobacco use, okay, alcohol consumption, the diet, physical activity. So these are the 4 that I would just want to zero in a little. When we look at alcohol consumption, we had 53.9% of the females that were part of that survey consuming alcohol, at least 1 drink within the past 30 days, and an additional 11.6% that were heavy drinkers.
The lifestyle in terms of the diet, 84.3% had less than 5 servings of vegetables on a daily basis. And of course, a 19.5% were not as active as they should be. When we look at overweight and obesity, 76.8% of those women were either obese or overweight. Yeah? Then we had 46.1%, yeah, were obese, having a BMI of over 30. I want us to internalize that because this is important. These are the women that will be coming to us pregnant. Yeah? Then we have percentage with, of course, this one was not too alarming in terms of having a raised blood pressure. But what I want us to zero is the last one. Percentage with raised blood pressure that were diagnosed on medication but not controlled. 31.9% of those women. Okay? So these are the women who are coming to us pregnant with already risk factors. Yeah? For NCDs, they are pregnant and we need to be able to manage them and ensure that their outcome plus the baby's outcome is a good one, is a favorable one. So I just want to share, all of us know the services that fall under maternal, neonatal, and child health. The services are offered both in primary care, at all of our primary care facilities, and of course, at some private offices. And we even have general practitioners who also care for pregnant women.
Nurse Debbie Brown works in the community as our mental health nurse supervisor. Miss Diana Henry Ernest, you heard earlier, she is our Dean for Department of Health Sciences at Arthur Lewis Community College. Alicia Sadhu Alexander is the PNO for Soufriere Hospital. Shamanda Kodra Ferdinand from MHMC is our supervisor on the obstetrics unit in red. And please introduce yourself again first.
I am Nurse Rena Butcher. Correction, I am Midwife Butcher, attached to the St. Jude Hospital maternity ward.
Welcome, Nurse Butcher. Thank you again for joining us. So I will start with Nurse Debbie Brown. We wanted to ensure that the mental health aspect is incorporated in our conference. So I have a question for you. Crisis events significantly impact nurses and midwives. We've gone through some pandemics. We've gone through some serious challenges for nurses. Can you tell us what impact crisis situations may have on the mental health of the midwife and measures to cushion the impact?
Good morning, beautiful midwives of St. Lucia. It's an honor to accept to be part of the panel discussion from the organization committee. So the impact of crisis situations on nurses and midwives. We have the physical impact where our workload is increased. We have mental health impact where we experience anxiety, burnout, compassionate fatigue, and also post-traumatic stress disorder when we have a crisis situation. We also have our moral distress where during a crisis situation the workload has increased, so the fear of the quality of work we normally provide is jeopardized because we feel that under the stressful situation that we are unable to provide the care. We also have fear of risk for infection. So as a result, we the midwives, the nurses, we decide to isolate ourselves. And we also go through loneliness. Also, we just experienced through COVID where we were stigmatized as nurses and midwives. So this also affects our mental health. And some measures to actually curb, I would say, that we must always practice self-care. And I think today some of us are doing it, taking some time to relax and enjoy. Also, we have to utilize the services we have in the community and the hospitals when it comes to mental health services. We have to utilize psychological first aid and stress management. We have to organize flexible working hours, put policies in place so we have flexible working hours. We take time for our break periods. Some of us work non-stop, and at the end of the day, it affects our physical health. But it may seem small, but we need to take the little break. We need to find time to relax. We must also, to relieve the stress when it's crisis, we have to follow our operating procedures, our standards and our guidelines that are in place. And if we practice these things, especially for stimulation exercises before and after crisis, so when a crisis comes, we will be familiar with these situations. I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. And if any of us could remember a year or 2 years that brought the most challenge of recent to nurses, that would be during COVID-19, right? COVID-19 created challenges for us left, right, and center. Thankfully, we had the Cuban brigade to come to assist us, but we were spread across the island in different placements. We had to learn new skills, new ways to speak. We had to learn telemedicine, etc. So it was quite a challenge for us. We had to learn how to do self-preservation while taking care of the mother who needs our hands-on care. So I could imagine for the midwife, that was a real challenge. And I would like to pose that question related to COVID-19 to midwife Alicia Sadu Alexander. What challenges or limitations do we as midwives face as it relates to crisis management as observed or experienced during COVID-19?
So the challenges as it relates to midwifery, COVID-19, and I would just like to narrow it a little more, even in terms of crisis management from SUFRE. We SUFRE Hospital, I manage SUFRE Hospital, but I tend to think it's a little unique because we're under primary care. However, at our SUFRE facility, we take maternity cases. We do not have a maternity unit, but we have a small room that we utilize when patients come in second stage and we do have to deliver. So as it relates to us at the SUFRE facility, our challenges in terms of crisis management doesn't only would impact or relate to COVID-19, but in terms of disasters, in terms of hurricanes, in terms of, SUFRE being cut off, for example, during Thomas. These were all centered towards crisis management. And I would like to say also that not only during the hurricane on disasters where SUFRE is basically cut off, but the midwives at our facility, they really form part of the front line workers in terms of managing, in terms of the delivery of care to maternal and neonatal care, as well as in managing obstetric emergencies as well, in terms of the areas of safety and the areas of efficiency in crisis management. So with regards to our SUFRE facility, when it comes to the availability of resources, as I mentioned earlier, we know the complications that there can be with a normal delivery. Any normal delivery can present as a complication, as an obstetric complication. Even before I talk a little about the complications, I went through it. I had a normal, during my first pregnancy, I had a normal pregnancy, and I turned out to have a placental abruption, and we know this is an obstetric emergency. So, like I was saying, that's one of the limitations, that's one of the challenges that we would face at our facility, just being placed at Soufrière. The limited access to a complete OB team, the inaccessibility to a delivery, a proper delivery room, an operating room, the absence of a gynecologist. So these are, real limitations that we face every day, that the nurses at Soufrière Hospital face every day. Another challenge would be that of limited staffing. So basically at the facility we have a 3-shift system, and on every shift we have one midwife. And I'm saying this, and this is very, very emotional to me, it's one midwife per shift. So can you just think of that you're any given shift and an emergency comes in, a maternity case comes in, and that one midwife would normally leave, and she would take the delivery, or if she doesn't take it, it depends on the after assessment of the patient, the patient would have to be transferred to either the secondary care facility, the OKEU or St. Jude Hospital. But what if another maternity case comes in? What if another maternity case comes in, there's no delivery? So in terms of human resource, in terms of that capacity, there is, great challenges. Don't forget the emotional aspect, the psychological aspect. I heard our presenter said, you pray, and yes, I pray. I have, my faith is really with me. But then, as a midwife myself going through this, I really understand what it is to pray, to really pray during that entire time, because the implications of what could happen is really, really, really real to us. And I want to just take us on a little journey back in 2005 when there was a maternal and infant death in St. Lucia, and that incident came to Soufrière. She was a 23-year-old that came in to deliver, and we transferred her, and she died. She and the baby died en route. So that was a real, tragedy. It was, and the nurses that were on that shift up to a day like today, it's probably almost 20 years now, and they still relive that moment. And they would vividly tell you of what they went through, the feelings they went through as, just as human, as a being, what they went through. It was so traumatic on them. So these are the real things that we go through. Another one I mentioned about the lack of resources. Even in Soufrière, we only have one ambulance, for example, and that one ambulance could be anywhere in Soufrière. It could be in the environs of Soufrière, and that one ambulance may not be available to us during our call to go to a secondary care facility. So that's another one of our big limitations that we have in terms of crisis management, and in terms of the lack, the unavailability of resources. It's a real thing to us, something we go through on a daily basis. That's one of our biggest challenges: lack of resources, lack of human resource, the psychological impact that any case could have on us. And these are just some of them.
We are hearing a lot about midwives' preparedness in crisis periods. We're discussing that now. Let me ask Nurse Diana Henry if you could share with us a little bit about how midwives can prepare themselves for crisis management. So we're talking about preparation. We heard our keynote speaker. She spoke very well about being prepared. So Nurse, we are hearing a lot about what we can do in crisis periods. So please share with us and talk to us about how midwives can be better prepared themselves for crisis management.
You must always be ready for the unexpected. So taking it from there, going into the delivery room or going to a delivery at whatever site you're practicing, because you can never tell when a woman is going to come in second stage, no matter if you're at home, no matter if you're at a wellness center or at the secondary healthcare setting. And this person is in second stage and you have a breech delivery, what are you going to do? Or this person has a gastrocasis, all the intestine are out, what are you going to do? So we must always be ready for the inevitable. As it relates to climate change and disasters, hurricanes and so forth, we will hear that a hurricane is approaching. We will have our warnings and we'll have all of the preparation time to do. Now, as midwives, we need to know, we need to have ideas wherever you're practicing, in St. Lucia, away in England, wherever. You need to have an idea as to the type of disasters that you may face. So in St. Lucia, we are prone to hurricanes and also flooding. So as a midwife, you in the primary healthcare setting, you in the secondary healthcare setting, you are aware of an impending disaster. What are you going to do? Are you going to say, Motier, I'll not go home to my family, I'll have to stay for how many days and whatsoever? Are you just going to say that? No. We normally prepare ourselves. So, what are you going to do? Here my panelist, she's giving me all the responses. Make sure you have all your supplies. Make sure you put your supplies away in nylon bags, whatever it is. So when the flooding comes, you know what happens? It may be secured. It will not be wet. You will have all of your utensil, all of your material right in there, dry and safe for you to deliver a baby who's coming unannounced. They can be rude when they come in and drop. So you do that. You also need to ensure that your skill set is impeccable. Don't say because you are not at the secondary healthcare that you don't know, you should not know how to deliver. That's not important. Don't do that. Ensure that you know how to perform a delivery no matter what setting you are in. Ensure that you can counsel clients. I'm not saying to go to the extreme as a counselor, but the basic initiation of counseling for your clients, make sure you are able to do that in a crisis period. You can prevent this woman from going into depression by your initiation of counseling, not telling her, but informing her of the things that she can do. Can you get somebody? Can you call somebody? Can you get XYZ to stay with the children? You know, little things that could help them relax their minds, because at the time they won't be thinking about that. But you, the expert as a midwife, you have it locked down. Yes? So again, you need to advocate on behalf of your midwives. You need to go to the Ministry of Health along with your interest group and say we need to be part. As midwives, we need to be part and parcel of the decision making as it relates to emergency preparedness. We want to be part of that team and be ready to be deployed wherever the emergency has happened. So be prepared. Empower yourself with the skills and knowledge, ability, and professional behavior so that you can practice in whatever crisis period, flood, hurricanes, whatever the crisis may be upon you as midwives. I thank you.
Thank you. We as midwives, we are advocates, we are leaders, we are policy influencers, and we are educators. And because of that, most of our patients see us first. We are the first line health workers that they see, and because of that, we are able to identify any risks that the patients have, and any risks we can now identify in the community. Now, of course, I work in a hospital, so I don't know exactly what or how the community works. But at hospital, we see our patients first, and based on how we assess our patients, then we know how to assess or how to manage our patient. So because of that, of course, we as midwives, we need training. And with our training, not only, like I'm saying, crisis planning, for us at hospital, our crisis could be something like obstetric emergencies. Are we prepared as midwives to handle obstetric emergencies? Emergencies such as PPH, shoulder dystocia. Do we have the right equipment to handle most of those situations? And of course, our health minister was here. How much equipment do we have now to handle all of those situations? Because right now at hospital, our equipment is lacking. So with that, we need to help our midwives handle all of those situations. We as midwives, like I said earlier on, we need training. And the training I'm speaking about is simulations. So every third Thursday at MHMC, we do simulations on obstetric emergencies. And of course, it is to help our midwives. We would get situations, I mean, it's not all the time that we're going to get an obstetric emergency. However, when it does come, we know exactly how to handle that situation. We are prepared. Our equipment is right there in the room. We know exactly where to go to get it so you can prepare for that emergency. And by extension, MHMC has also extended an emergency program at the A&E department. And we were given the privilege to train those nurses in obstetric emergencies, because sometimes we never know exactly where a patient would present.
most times the patient knows to come to the labor and delivery unit. However, sometimes the patient could go directly to the emergency department, and there and then an emergency could happen, a delivery or an impending delivery could happen. So we have trained the midwives, and it's a continuous program. Right now, the midwives, the nurses are being trained in A&E right now, and we would be part of the training in helping obstetric emergencies. So this is one of the aspects as midwives, what we can do or how important we are as nurses in planning or being influential in the in crisis planning. And most of the things, like for example, in the hospital, we don't physically, I will not say physically impacted, but then, for example, any disaster that happens, we get like the second hand. I know the community, they are the ones that are in the forefront to help such persons like our vulnerable women. But when they come to our emergency, when they come to our labor and delivery, how prepared are we to accommodate those women and to help them, and how best we can, especially financially. We on the maternity unit, when we identify a risk or persons that are vulnerable, we sometimes put monies together to buy persons medication. Because they come to you and they tell you, nurse, I do not have money to buy the Aldomet, something as simple as Aldomet. They do not have the money. So we put our monies together. We help those individuals because we do not want to see those mothers falter. So we as midwives, this is how important we are in crisis planning. And I'd just like to leave this last saying by WHO. It says, according to the WHO, investing in midwives can avert to 2/3 of the maternal death and the stillborns globally, making them vital to achieving health equity. Thanks.
So, nurse, midwives play a critical role in crisis periods. So speak to us about the role that we actually have in the crisis period.
Our roles as midwives in crisis, we see ourselves as first responders. All right, oftentimes most of our patients or our clients, they come from home and straight to the maternity unit. Okay, so we see ourselves as first responders to deliver safe care to reproductive mothers, newborns, and as well as adolescents. Also, we provide safe delivery of care during labor, ensuring that our mothers and babies are safe. And we also continue services for pre- and postnatal infant care. We're still at the stage where we have babies being born at home or babies being born in the car park. Okay, they don't have time make it to the labor room. So we must always be ready. We must, like nurse would have mentioned earlier, and training as well is very important. As first responders, we have to know at all times what we are about. Should we face situations, difficult situations, crisis, we know how to respond. Access to contraception, breastfeeding support for mothers, ensuring access to clean water and nutrition when we think of hurricanes, and even when we think of the fire at St. Jude Hospital, we still had to deliver 2 babies, I believe. Nurse Vitalis, if I'm wrong, correct me. Yes, so we as first responders, we ought to be prepared at all times, know where to find our resources, our equipment, and of course how we are able to man those equipment.
So, Sister Lee, this should have been presented to you a little earlier, but we're having a little challenge. However, it's honor on behalf of all of the midwives here and on island, and by extension, president of Caribbean Nurses Association. We would like to offer you this token of appreciation for the many, many years that you have taught midwifery, for all of the midwives that you have shaped and molded, including me. Yes, so we really want to honor you. We want to pay tribute to you on this wonderful day, and we were so happy that you would have been in our midst, and we too were blessed and honored to be in your midst. Indeed, you are a midwife, a hero to us. So we want to present this to you. So I was telling Sister Lee the joke earlier on. So Sister Lee, she used to bring us peppermint. I don't know how many of you all had that experience. And Sister Lee's husband was also the male nurse who also used to provide us with peppermint. And a day, Sister Lee could not get the penny to us, and she says, "Oh, my husband could not go for the macabre leaves, so she was not able to bring penny for us that day." So, Sister, we really appreciate all that you have done for us, molding us, shaping us into midwives. I'm sure, I think probably more than half of this room, that you touched our lives as midwives. So we really want to say a big thank you to you.
Thank you very much. I'm not a lover of much of display, as you all, my students, would know. However, I thank you for treating me so nicely today. But I also want to say, I feel proud when I meet people who tell me, "Nurse so-and-so has been so good to me." I feel good, and I was, as I said to Raj, that I just want to know that I played a role in a nurse doing the right thing. That's all I want to know. So I thank you all, and I must say, that which I was able to do was because of God's blessings on me. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's a privilege to be here to represent the universal health coverage, to speak on the successes and challenges in the implementation of midwifery-led USC initiative. You have been a great asset to implement USC. You have been and you are. We will not be having the numbers that we are having in ministry without your input. If you were not collaborating with us, we will have not been able to speak on the progress of universal health coverage. And for that, on behalf of the ministry, which you are part of, and universal health coverage, I thank you for that. What I want to share with you, I want to give you a reminder on UHC's mandate from the government of St. Lucia. I also want to give you, next please. Also want to give you, discuss undercurrent services under UHC, also the EPHS, next. Also the EPHS, which is the essential package of health services that UHC is looking at implementing. The challenges and successes. Generally, in most settings that I've been, we always start with successes, then challenges. I purposefully want to I outlined that way challenges because I don't want you to live here. Remember the negatives. So I want to close my presentation at the end of this with the successes, and that's what I want to stay with you. Or I want you to stay with. The mandate of UHC, Universal Health Coverage, is to provide, next please, is to provide health services without financial hardship. And Universal Health Coverage is aimed at increasing access to quality And that's a keyword I've been hearing during the conference. Quality of healthcare.
To let them know at the different clinics, at the different areas, secondary and primary healthcare, let us communicate, let us tell our patients what is offered to them free of charge and let them benefit from it. Networking between primary and secondary healthcare settings. Data quality, we saw that, right, coming out. Data quality, garbage in, garbage out. So we have to put in the right things. Follow-up of patients. And constant M&E and client satisfaction surveys. We are delivering a service, but how are the patients interpreting the services provided to them? We can only know once if we do the surveys. We find out, right, at the clinics, how is it going on? How do you enjoy it? How can we improve? Constant communication. Adherence to clinical guidelines, we also saw that. Proper documentation, and also strengthening clinical techniques. This is not all of it, but certainly some areas that we certainly need to strengthen, as we see with UHC, MCH, and maternal child health care, and men's health, of course.
So we're looking at the signs of burnout. Becoming isolated, appearing withdrawn or detached, unexplained exhaustion, reduced performance, neglecting self-care, feeling overwhelmed and unable to cope, uninterested in things you used to be interested in before, and tension and stress. So when you reach a level of burnout, your output is different. You cannot perform how you normally perform, and that can affect the care that you provide. So we have the physical impacts of stress. We have fatigue, headaches, and our impact on our overall health. Okay. So we find that stress, sometimes we have aches, we have pains, but we check everything is okay. But we have the headache, we have the fatigue, and we do all physical, but we forget to check what is going on up there. Are we taking a time out? Stress. Okay? So for us to help with stress, time management. And time management starts from not just at work, but at home. Have we prepared to leave home on time? If we know that we have to get that time, what are we doing to ensure that we can leave home on time? Even though these days the traffic is crazy. You may have to leave home at least 20 minutes earlier to get there on time. And at work, we have different things to do. So instead of getting to work and eating breakfast in an hour and then have to rush, time management will come in there. Okay? Prioritize, which is what is more important. Prioritize. Set realistic deadlines. Don't leave to enter all of the booths 2 days before you have to give in your report. If you do it every day, it may work out. And for the monthly report also, deadlines. Okay, you can change. And I guess each organization has systems in place to make our work easier. We should find out what these systems are and make use of them. Establish boundaries. So you have to set clear boundaries. With everything, set clear boundaries. Work is work, home is home. Some of us are able to go home and leave work at work, which is a good thing. We feel sorry for the managers that have to 24 hours. They have to keep their eye open to see if they have staffing. But some of us are lucky that we can shut off. So try to shut off when you go home and don't take work home. And don't take home to work either. Okay? Schedule downtime. At the end of every day, whether your day ends in the morning or the afternoon, you should have a little 10, 15 minutes to yourself. How did I go today? What can I do to improve tomorrow? It's all about you. We cannot improve other person's their attitudes or their work ethics. We can only improve ourselves. So how can I make myself better the next day? You downturn. What is it to make it easier for you? Okay? Like unplug from work. Take time off, unplug from work. Come on.